and directives. We have decided that the county administrator's report is publicly printed and we don't need her to speak it. And we will email questions if we have them. Board reports. I do think that is important. Jesse.
We had a TJPDC meeting the other day. It was a great discussion about, what was it? We were talking about the impacts of a gas station and the cigarette tax that came up in a little bit of discussion. FYI, how much a Wawa can generate was really intriguing. Beyond that, nothing too much substance. We had our class. We've been going to school. We've had really great lessons on planning and zoning. In the words, arbitrary and capricious. I mentioned that to the teacher a couple times. That's all I'm going to say. I'm done.
My jail board meeting is coming up then this week.
All right.
Thursday. Yep.
I have nothing to report because the majority of you all were at my planning commission meeting and know exactly what happened. Mr. Reed.
Nelson County Service Authority, we met. We actually had 2 meetings since the last Board of Supervisors meeting of our board, and 2 phone calls with staff and DEQ and CHA and Ovivo. Actually, excuse me, let me get this right. One was a call with Ovivo that included all those people, and one did not include Ovivo, which was one was just with DEQ. But we're working towards a resolution on both short-term and long-term fixes to the Wintergreen wastewater treatment plant and the potential consent order, and that is close to being finalized as we speak. Candy's report covers the admission tax committee report, so I think that's pretty accurate, and nothing was resolved, but we're looking for another meeting probably in July. I did not attend the TJPDC meeting that Jesse referred to, had missed one for a while. I went to the FFA banquet at the high school on the 28th. It was great to see everybody, their awards, the way they handled themselves at the banquet meeting and everything. It was quite a thing. My kudos to all the FFA folks that were there and all that they have done. I went to the grand opening of the St. James Apartments on St. James Church Road in David's neck of the woods. On the 30th, they've got 2 units. Each one has 2 units, and they're in the process of making those available to applicants because they're almost turnkey at this very moment. They're still doing a little bit of landscaping connected with it, so that's a great thing for the Community Development Foundation. Let's see. That's all I have.
Excellent. Mr. Parr.
I missed the April EMS council meeting because I was in the Bahamas. But while I was gone, they approved a $900,000 fire truck for Wintergreen. So there you go.
Well, it did say unanimous.
Yes, that's true. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
We are going to push the appointments to next month. Correspondence. NCPS appropriation request is next.
Just going to highlight the request. Obviously, the school division folks are here. If you have questions for them regarding this, or if they have anything else to add. Basically, the FY25 audit confirmed that the school division returned about $984,683 to the county in unspent funds, and their request is to have these funds appropriated to them for CIP things, including the HVAC system at Rockfish River Elementary School. That would be for one component that is alone a cost of $500,000. And that would go towards them, working their way to sufficiently fully replace the HVAC system in its entirety over there.
Amanda, do we have 3 bids on that?
Excuse me, come to the mic, please.
Figure we go straight to the source.
So do we have 3 current bids? No, we have been in communication with Train. We also have some other individuals that we can reach out to get that,
If you could, that'd be
especially
great.
as the realization of that project can
Yeah.
come with a little more clarity. That's definitely something we can take care of.
Yeah, I'm definitely on board with doing this in stages. Because it was what, 2 point?
It's like 2.5, or I think between 2.5 and 2.7 for
Yeah.
the entire. And I think at that time it would also include the gymnasium. But separately, just for that one unit, it would be 500,000. And making sure we verify, and I believe we have, that we do have the ability to do that.
Yeah, I talked to
rooftop
Les.
Project first, yeah.
Yeah, he said you did. Okay.
Wait, you cut her off. The ability to do what?
To, as opposed to doing the entire building, we would have the ability to do this, the rooftop unit, and then additional work.
Okay.
As opposed to all at once and it being 2.5 million.
Okay, so you feel she should get more quotes?
I feel that you should get more quotes. Something that big, because Les said it was a 175 ton unit. Something that big, you can go straight to the manufacturer on, like Daikin across the mountain over there, for instance. Yeah. It's not a residential, so you don't have to go through you don't have to go through a dealer or anything, and it's probably best off to go straight to the manufacturer. That way you get exactly what you need.
Okay,
Do we have any contracts with Honeywell still?
And, we still have some contracts, I think, but I believe with this, it may or it may not include us having to go through them.
Sure.
There are still some connections and
Great.
responsibilities for them. That's why we have been in communication with Train
Sure.
somewhat frequently, so.
Okay.
So if we were to allocate, to approve the returned amount to go back and be flagged for this, you would be getting those estimates anyway to pick the best one that's gonna fit with you. And then, you would have, somewhere along around the amount of $500,000 plus or minus to go towards the other ones that we may be able to do with funds in next year's budget.
Yes, and so in previous conversations, there's been discussions about creating possibilities like bus funds or other types of things. And so this is kind of in kind to building upon that concept of those turnback funds as we have them being, kind of contributed and allocated back to a fund that we know could be used for CIPs as one-time spending type of situations that can go towards that, whether that's this project or a bus or something else. Of those needs. That would not, they were funds that were already previously
Sure.
earmarked to come here. And I think it serves both purposes of, there are times where we are not gonna be able to spend all of that money. And don't want, being good stewards, we don't wanna just spend it to spend it. We wanna, that's why we turn it back, is because we wanna make sure that we're doing our due diligence with that and knowing that it can go back into a fund that will benefit identified projects that are of need. I think that is a win-win.
And that gives you the flexibility of being able to undertake things under your own discretion and not have to come to us to ask for additional funding to do.
It
Those
could
things,
serve that purpose, yes.
What is, of that 984,000, how much of that was vacancy savings? Out of curiosity.
A breakdown of that, I think we can come to that. Do we have it completely broken down?
I was just curious what it was. That'd be nice to know. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Okay. So what do we need to do today?
Yeah.
Do we just need to say, hey, use that 500 grand, and then the difference we'll figure out what to do with later?
They're gonna build that office.
I
Right.
think think the request is for the entire amount to be appropriated for CIP.
Right.
Okay. I see.
With their intention to use the 500,000 for the HVAC,
Okay.
and then the balance would be, I guess, at their discretion.
Would you use the balance to go towards your office? That way you don't have to come back to the county and ask the county for more money for that office space?
So I don't think we've had that conversation about the paying for the office space yet. I think that was something that Ms. McGarry had mentioned about having a conversation. That's something that we've had a question about, along the way about that. I know our board would want to have that conversation as well. I think it can go towards the identified CIP projects. It can go towards buses. It can, we've identified a need for replacing those buses. And as you can do that, that also helps contribute to the overall operations of the entire division.
I think a good use of it could be to study their future location.
I hope we're not spending $500,000 on a damn study.
No,
Okay.
no, I wasn't saying the whole
Okay.
thing, but just, part of that
Yeah.
balance.
Can we,
That.
approve allocating the funds necessary to replace the Rockfish HVAC unit out of the $984,000 and not allocate the entire amount and kind of have it as a CIP, earmarked for future projects such as the study or whatever? But, I mean, can we allocate it that way?
You could do that, just direct us to appropriate just the 500,000 for now, is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm not saying just 500,000, I'm saying the expense of the HVAC unit at Rockfish that needs, because I know that was discussed.
Yeah,
So would that be to create a fund, a CIP fund, that this $500,000 could be taken out of? And
Yes.
that would to be the 98, the
Correct.
request, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be in favor of that.
What action do you need from us to make it so?
I have just a motion and approval of their request as presented, probably would do it.
Well, I don't think that's exactly
That's
what was
not,
just
No.
presented.
I don't-
That's giving them
Yeah,
more
this is
carte
something-
blanche.
I'm saying that what I'm suggesting is that we not hand over the entire $984,683, that we approve use of that money towards the HVAC unit.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I just asked.
Yeah.
And you all said
And
no,
not-
so-
Not
I was
the whole
confused.
fund, not
So
not
just
approving the entire
500,000.
fund. I'm not saying that what if it's 600,000 to replace the HVAC unit? I'm not saying we limit it to 500. If it comes back and it's 568,000, then I want to I don't want them to have to come back and ask again. I
Yeah.
want to approve
Okay.
that now, that they
Right.
get that money, but I also don't want to just automatically hand over the whole 984,000. I want us to earmark it
Okay.
for use for future projects for the school division, but I don't want to just give it away now. I want to be able to have it
Okay.
as needed.
I
You know what
see.
I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand now, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm with you, sorry.
So is that the same thing as creating a fund?
Basically, that's what,
Yes.
what I already
And
said.
that had been a part of our conversations with the board, as he had just mentioned, and is creating that fund to be used in the future, not necessarily all right now.
Okay.
So we currently have, on the county side, we have a capital fund that has maybe, is it 350,000, I think, maybe earmarked for potential building envelope repair at Tide River Elementary School, so we could keep whatever funds build up in that fund, and then you all direct us to transfer whatever amounts for future CIP.
What's the name of that fund, just for accounting purposes? Curious.
School
The
balance
capital
fund.
Okay,
I think it's $300,500 in there.
Okay. Then I'll make the motion that we take the amount $984,683 and devote it to that fund for the purpose of having that money, the money there available for the cost of replacing the HVAC unit, estimated to be around $500,000.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
All those opposed? Thank you.
Madam Chair, the only directive I have
it's
is that we
interesting.
need a new Nelson County flag and a Virginia flag out front, because
I-
they're
yeah,
I agree. I also think the board needs Nelson County apparel, but
Madam Chair, go, this has been a promise for a long time, and
Because the
Previous
last time anything
chairs,
was done,
you got me a
when I
vest.
was chair, we got a vest.
and you didn't
But I
get
do
us
think- I
any
like
button
Cody's
up.
But not the last time you were chair.
No, the first time I was chair.
Yeah.
You didn't get me a button up or nothing.
Did you see what Cody had on?
Your
today?
English.
I thought that was pretty appropriate.
Sorry, I
So,
can't read.
the building inspections department has a connection for that type of apparel. We can send you all the link and then we can do orders or however that works. But I believe Cody got his shirt. through
That's what
that.
the schools have. They have a link to, I think it might be the same service for, school-related.
I don't know.
Yeah, send us
Apparel
a link and let us pick something.
Thank
That's
you.
what I did.
But I agree, we're looking tattered outside.
Yes.
Yeah. I did. That's what I did with my staff. I sent them a link with a list, like 6 things they could pick from, and
All right.
I don't know, got
All
a
right.
jacket on,
I would like a jacket just to wear in this room.
Hey, move.
We're
session.
going to close session.
All right, Madam Chair, I move that the Nelson County Board of Supervisors convene in closed session to discuss the following as permitted by the Virginia Code Sections 2.2-3711. A3, discussion or consideration of the acquisition of real property for a public purpose or of the disposition of publicly held real property where discussion in open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body. A6, discussion or consideration of the investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved, where if made publicly initially, the financial interests of the governmental unit would be adversely affected. A7, consultation with legal counsel and the briefings by staff members pertaining to actual litigation where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body, litigation pertaining to the Region 2000 Services Authority. A8, consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel. Nothing in this subdivision shall be construed but to permit the closure of a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public body is in attendance or is consulted on a matter.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Get out of here.